Welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you about sustainable leadership and avoiding burnout while we are leading at a high level. And I want to explore the intersections of leadership and personal growth and living a life that truly aligns with all of our values. So, today I want to tackle a topic that every high achiever leader needs to hear about: sustainable leadership. Because the truth is, burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's not proof of dedication or sacrifice. It's a warning light, and ignoring it is just going to hurt us. It affects our teams, our organizations, and the very mission we are working so hard to lead. So, in this episode, I want to break down with you why burnout happens most often with women leaders and the myths that we've been sold about pushing through a new model of leadership that's sustainable and life giving. And I want to give you some practical tools that you can use to stay sharp and healthy and energized while still performing at a high level. So, by the end of this, I want you to walk away with framework for leadership that fuels your longevity, not drains it. So, if we talk about the leadership burnout crisis, let's talk about the hard truth. Women in leadership are burning out at a higher rate than men. And that's not to discredit females or males, one or the other. Recent studies show that women leaders are not only more likely to take on extra work to support their teams, but they're also more likely to carry the invisible responsibilities: the mentoring, the emotional support, the culture building. It rarely gets recognized in their job descriptions, but they're doing it. And to add to that, the constant pressure to prove themselves in environments where they may still be underestimated. And it's no wonder that so many women leaders feel that they're running on empty. And burnout doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow leak. You keep pushing, you keep striving, you keep meeting deadlines until one day your body, your creativity, or your motivation says enough. And here's the scary part: burnout is contagious. If you're exhausted or short tempered and running on fumes, your team is going to feel it. And it sets the tone for the culture. So that's why it's not selfish to prioritize your sustainability and prioritize you. It's actually one of the most responsible things that you can do as a leader. So, if we talk about some of the myths that drive burnout, why do so many women push themselves past the breaking point? It comes down to three leadership myths that we've all internalized at one point or another. Myth number one: hustle equals success. If you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. We glorify the grind as if being busy is the same thing as being impactful. But exhaustion is not impact, it's depletion. And myth number two: saying yes, proving your value. Women leaders often feel like they can't say no without being labeled unhelpful or not a team player. But the truth is, saying yes to everything dilutes your leadership and leaves you no time for the things that really move the needle. And myth number three: rest is weakness. How many of us have secretly felt guilty for taking a vacation, leaving early, or even blocking off time for ourselves? But here's the reality: rest is productivity. Your brain does its best work when it has time to reset. I know for me, the times where I can just sit back and unplug are the times where I can get the most emotional and mental productivity done in my brain, because it allows me to slow down without all the distractions around me, to just focus on the real, true, important things that actually matter to me. It helps me be able to step back and look at a bird's eye view of the situation and think about things much differently than when I'm immersed in it every single day. And breaking these myths is the first step towards sustainable leadership. So, if we redefine what sustainable leadership is, what does this look like? It's leadership that isn't just about the next quarter or the next project. It's leadership that ensures you show up with clarity and energy and creativity, not just today, but for years to come. Sustainable leadership, I would say, has four pillars. Number one: boundaries. The ability to say no, protect your energy, and structure your time around priorities. Number two: Sustainable leadership has rhythms, building predictable cycles of work and of rest that prevent workout or just prevent burnout. It's okay to work, but it's also okay to rest. And number three, support. Having mentors, peers, and even therapists or coaches who can help you process the weight of leadership. And the fourth pillar of sustainable leadership is self leadership, prioritizing your health and your growth and your emotional regulation so you lead from a full cup and not an empty one. Because when you embrace these pillars, you move from being a leader who's just surviving like a duck on water, scrambling underneath the water, trying to keep it cool on the outside, to a leader who's truly thriving. And that's what we want for you. So if we talk about boundaries in practice, let's break these down with real practical examples. For many women leaders, boundaries feel selfish. But I want you to flip that perspective. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges. They keep you aligned and healthy and able to show up at your best version of yourself. Here's some practical boundary practices. The first thing I would say is calendar blocking. And I've heard this so many times over the years, but when you're not doing it, I promise you, it helps so much to protect deep work time by literally blocking it off on your calendar, and don't move it unless it's life or death. And an energy check-in. Before saying yes to a new request, ask yourself, will this energize me or drain me? And if it's not going to energize me, is this really a priority? Is this necessary? And having end-of-day rituals, creating a cutoff time where work has to stop. No emails or Slack or Teams, no just one more thing. Leadership requires clarity, and you do not get that without rest and without those boundaries. Boundaries don't just protect you, they model for your team that it's okay to have limits. That's culture shaping leadership, and it's going to allow them to create their own boundaries so that you can get the best version of them as well. And the power of rhythms. If we talk about rhythms, high-level leaders often operate like sprinters running marathons. But the human body and mind were never designed for constant, unrelenting pace. Instead, you need rhythms, having a daily rhythm like starting a grounding practice like journaling, meditation, exercise, and end with reflection and gratitude most importantly. And having weekly rhythms, maybe that looks like having one meeting free day, if possible, to focus on creative or strategic thinking, because I'm sure you would agree with me, when you have an all-day day of meetings, you feel like you were the busiest and most exhausted after that day, but feel like you got the least amount of work done. And seasonal rhythm, recognizing that not every quarter can be a growth sprint. Build in seasons of consolidation and reflection. Think of it like music. Without pauses, it's just noise. Without rhythms of rest, your leadership is going to become noise too. And we have to build support systems. Something that leaders don't talk about enough is leadership can feel lonely. The higher you go, the fewer people you can be completely honest with that are going to understand and comprehend the challenges that you might be going through, because they're going through it too. That's why building a support system is a non-negotiable. And that might look like a mentor who's been where you want to go, or a peer group of other women leaders who understand your challenges or at a similar level of their career or position, or a coach or therapist who can give you tools and perspective outside of your organization, and even your team at home, your family, your friends, or community who remind you of your worth beyond your title. And asking for help is not a weakness. It's a strategy. No empire, no movement, no company was ever built by just one person alone. So if we're going to practice this self-leadership, this last pillar, finally, it comes back to how can you lead others if you cannot lead yourself? And this was one thing that I even struggled with personally, because I lost a bunch of weight, I got healthy, got my personal training certification, started doing in-home personal training, worked with a few clients in the gym, and then we ended up moving, life happened, some personal situations happened that caused some grieving, and slowly gained all my weight back, and just felt like I want to go help people. I want to go help them with their health, but I didn't feel like it was right for me because I needed to lead myself first. I needed to get my own health on track first and kind of have that fruit on the tree, not only for myself, but to show clients that, if I can do it, you can do it too, and preaching what I'm teaching. So, self leadership for you might mean prioritizing your physical health and getting enough sleep and nutrition and movement. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a perfect, bodybuilding body, but just being able to take care of you physically. And maybe it's the emotional health, practicing mindfulness and prayer or reflection, or the intellectual health, reading and learning, staying curious, a personal development like this podcast, good for you, and relational health, making time for people who give you life. When you invest in yourself, you're not taking time away from leadership. You are multiplying your leadership impact. And if we talk about a framework that I want you to remember, I call it the SAFE model, SAFE, SAFE model. To make this actionable, this is what I want you to remember. S is for simplify. Ruthlessly prioritize what matters the most. Eliminate the tasks that do not serve your mission and simplify. A is for align. Make sure your calendar reflects or aligns with your values, not just your inbox. Align with your values. And F is for fuel. Protect your energy through rhythms of rest and nutrition and movement. Fuel yourself. And E is for engage. Build systems of support and connection so you don't lead in isolation. Engage with others. So ask yourself every week, am I leading in a way that is the SAFE model? Or am I leading in a way that's dangerous to my health and my impact? Because it is the safest route to go. And so the last thing I just want to wrap up with is, if we talk about these 4 pillars, boundaries, rhythms, support, self-leadership, and put it into practice, I encourage you to not even focus on all 4. Just pick one. Maybe it means just saying no to one meeting or blocking time for reflection this week. Or maybe it means calling a friend or a mentor. Or just means getting 8 hours of sleep. It's amazing how much more productive and just alive I feel when I get my full 8 hours of sleep. And sometimes people give me a hard time like, I only need 6 hours. And if that's you, good for you. But I have just determined life is better. I'm a much happier person. I kind of joke like the Jesus stays within me when I get my full 8 hours of sleep. There's just something that happens that helps me feel complete and whole. And sustainable leadership isn't about overhauling your life overnight. It is about those small, consistent changes that protect your energy and extend your impact. Because here's the truth, your organization doesn't need a burned out leader. Your team doesn't need a constantly exhausted boss. And your family does not need a drained version of you. They need the real you. They need clear, energized, and inspired. Every person in your life, professionally, personally, your family at home, they all want the best version of you. So if we choose sustainability over burnout, let's choose leadership that lasts. So thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonated with you, maybe share it with somebody else in leadership or roles that maybe could benefit from hearing this and using this reminder, following that SAFE model. And if you're ready to go deeper, I'd love to connect with you and reach out for any kind of coaching resources or join our leadership community. Until next time, lead well and live well. And remember that burnout is not a price of impact, and sustainability is.